As long as black people think white people and Republicans are racist, Democrats are like, oh, we got it locked. But if black Americans start doing better and start catching up with the other races and they start thinking maybe this place isn't that racist, Democrats have to have a new talking point, or they have to do something different to continue to get the black vote.
Yes, we've overcome the slavery era. We've overcome the Jim Crow era. But we're now in a new day, and we've been in this place for decades. But for us to make the same excuses over and over again, it says that we are failing to take advantage of the opportunities that we do have. For decades, the Democrat Party has banked and counted on the black vote. But black Americans are starting to wake up and, smell the coffee. They're beginning to see that, hey, decades of unfettered support towards a political party that tells us that they have our best interest in mind hasn't really worked out. And so there has to be an alternative. And tone from the top matters. And the strong leadership that President Trump has displayed in being willing to do things like, send the National Guard to places like DC and soon to be Portland and now Chicago and so on and so forth in Memphis, it says that we have the right kind of leadership that wants to address some critical problems that at the end of the day will benefit the black community. Now, everyone likes to complain about gentrification and everything of that nature, but no one wants to live in a crime-ridden community. You want safety. You want true freedom and liberty. You want to be able to have your grandmother walk down the street and not worry about her getting robbed or mugged, not by the white Aryan in the neighborhood, but by some young black thug who can care less about your grandmother's life, let alone your mother's, if she's walking the street. So as we see this, there are more people speaking out. One in particular is this young lady here that I want to introduce you to. She's going to share with you her heart sentiments towards the leadership that we have now in our country. Take a look at this.
I'm always got to be the person to say it, and I don't want to be the person to say it. But Donald Trump has been president for 9 months. 9 months! And I'm seeing videos from Chicago, DC, where people are like, yo, I feel safe. My kids feel safe. This is the best thing he ever did for us. So what was happening all these years that this shit, like literally I've known DC and Virginia to have this type of shit going my whole life, and I'm in my 40s, okay? Almost touching it.
Wow.
So what was really truly going on? If a motherfucker became president 9 months ago and cleared that shit out with just a flick of the pen, I'm just thinking, like, did y'all really ever care?
This lady is right, and she is well over the target. For 9 months, we have witnessed, true leadership, a president who campaigned on cleaning up illegal immigration, sending in ICE to make sure that we protect our communities, and also dealing with crime. President Trump campaigned that he was going to crack down on the criminal intent that has been allowed in our society for so long in many of these Democrat-run cities. And now I want to show you a video of Jeffrey Mead. He's going to address it as well. Take a look at this.
She's asking the right question, because these areas are controlled by Democrats. But the best way to understand people is to pay attention to their incentive structures. Democrats are not incentivized for Black Americans to do better. If you think about the Democrats' platform, it's about making everybody a victim. If you're Black, the system's racist and it's against you, and we are the people who are going to fix that problem for you. Those Republicans, they're racist. If you're gay, they don't like you because you're gay. If you're a woman, they don't like you because you're a woman. If you're an immigrant, they don't like you because you're an immigrant. And again, back to black people, the reason you're struggling is because of history, racism, and the system. It's not your decision making. It's not you making poor decisions. But here's the thing, if they can keep you focused on everything except accountability and your own personal agency, that makes you a perpetual voter for Democrats. Because you will continue to believe that the reason you and your people are not succeeding is because the system is racist and it's against you, and you believe the Democrats are fighting to fix that system, when in reality, the system is not against you. And the biggest reason Black Americans are now struggling is because of Black Americans. Our mindsets, our belief systems, the way we go about things. The system is no longer the primary factor. It's us. But again, if Black Americans start taking accountability, making better decisions, and doing better, they will need the Democrats less. Then the Democrats will actually have to be accountable for getting things done. As long as Black people think white people and Republicans are racist, Democrats are like, oh, we got it locked. But if Black Americans start doing better and start catching up with the other races, and they start thinking maybe this place isn't that racist, Democrats have to have a new talking point, or they have to do something different to continue to get the Black vote. That's more work and it's more dangerous for their political power. So again, it actually works in Democrats' favor for Black people to continue to struggle. It doesn't actually help them if they actually fix our problems. So simply put, Democrats are incentivized for Black people to continue to struggle.
It's clear the Democrat Party has to incentivize the crime-ridden cities that they have propagated for so long. All of these things are intentional. How do you keep Black people marginalized and in a position where they continue to vote for the Democrat Party unfettered? You do it by constantly pulling the scab off of racism. You do it by constantly talking about slavery, constantly talking about Jim Crow, constantly talking about the system being rigged against you. And it means that, hey, if I keep Black people angry enough and long enough, they're not ultimately going to want to focus on themselves. They'll always look towards blaming their problems and their ills on someone else, in particular, the white man. And see, as long as we are looking outward, we can never look inward. Personal accountability is something that has to be talked about more, especially in the Christian church. We have an accountability as Christians to carry our cross daily, to live a righteous lifestyle, to walk in holiness and in purity. Now we do know that righteousness was imputed unto us when we were translated from darkness into the light. The Lord made us righteous. However, there's something that we have to do daily. We have to carry our cross. We don't have to get on it, but we have to carry it. And we have to make the right choices as Christians to live for God. Well, if there's accountability in the Christian faith, there should be accountability in our everyday lives. You have to work hard. And many of our choices are oftentimes the root cause of our failures. Now, if you use all of your youthfulness towards sex, drugs, crime, and trying to amass as much wealth as possible, but doing it in a nefarious way, I'm talking about selling drugs and using theft and embezzlement and Ponzi schemes and things of that nature to gain wealth, yeah, you're gonna find yourself in a position where you feel as if you have been rejected from society because you are self-imploding, because you do not feel as if you have brought anything to the table because your work has been in vain. But it's imperative, my friends, it's imperative that we see our role in this world, not solely in the kingdom, but also in this world, as one where, as Black Americans, yes, we've endured a great deal of injustices in our country. Yes, we've overcome the slavery era. We've overcome the Jim Crow era. But we're now in a new day, and we've been in this place for decades. But for us to make the same excuses over and over again, it says that we are failing to take advantage of the opportunities that we do have. Listen, roughly 8 in 10 Black voters identify with or lean toward the Democrat Party. That's horrific. Around 1 in 10 identify with or lean toward the Republican Party. Over the last several elections, surveys show a gradual rise in the share of Black voters, especially younger men, considering or voting Republican. Between 2020 and 2024, Republican support among Black voters grew from about 8% to roughly 15%. Why? President Trump. It's the MAGA effect. Now, you may not like MAGA, and people oftentimes think if you support what President Trump is doing, that you are now worshiping the MAGA doctrine. I disagree with that. You know, I call President Trump out when he needs to be called out. I think that his current administration botched the release of the Epstein files. We are still waiting on the Epstein files. Let me say this again. We are still waiting on the Epstein files. He has to do better there. But, you know, when you look at the totality of his leadership thus far, his administration is over the target. They've done a phenomenal job. But this trend that we're seeing in society, where younger Black men are leaving the Democrat Party and now going to the Republican Party, we've gone from 8% to roughly 15% in the span of 4 years from 2020 to 2024. That's significant. But I'm also concerned because we're not seeing this same trend amongst young, liberal Black women. And I strongly believe that if younger Black women are not moving in the same direction as young Black men, we will constantly see the breakdown in the Black family. We will see it because ideologically and philosophically, younger Black men are going to differ with the willingness to support certain policies and institutions that younger Black women are willing to support. And so there's going to be a division there. Now, I'll say this, and some people may disagree, and I may get ridiculed for it, but I do believe that the turn and the trend that we're seeing in society, where more younger Black men are choosing to vote for the Republican Party, is also, in a sense, a revival that shows that these younger Black men are also moving towards righteousness. Now, you may disagree with that, but hear me. The party platform of the Democrat Party and the Republican Party differs greatly. One party wants to abort babies all the way up to 9 months. The other party wants to save babies as many as possible and as young as possible. Many states are even passing laws where you can't abort babies at all. This is because of Republican leadership. One party wants to provide trans surgeries for minors. The other party, the Republican Party, wants to outlaw that and ban it. One party wants to provide as much support just for the government school system as possible, where there's a cookie cutter model for education for all kids, which doesn't work. The other party, the Republican Party, wants to provide school choice and also allow parents to use their tax dollars to go to a school of their choice. Be it, hey, if they want to stay in the government school system, yes, they can, or go to a charter school, or go to a private Christian school. That's the Republican Party's platform and their stance. One party wants to allow as many criminal illegal aliens in as possible. That's the Democrat Party. The other party wants to focus on law and order and secure our border. That's the Republican Party. Do you get where I'm going with this? The virtues and the values that are being projected by the Democrat Party are deleterious to all communities, especially the Black community. Yes, so this revival that we're seeing, yes, let's call it a revival. where younger black men are trending in the right direction, it's a good trend. Now, ultimately, will a Republican make it to heaven if they don't know Jesus as their personal savior? No. Will a Democrat make it to heaven if they don't know Jesus as their personal savior? No. And so don't get me wrong here. Don't miss the argument that I'm trying to make. I'm not saying that being a Republican will lead you towards salvific faith, but I am saying that you can't support particular policies and ideologies and claim to be a Christian. And many of these policies that we see that kind of muddies the water with your Christian faith oftentimes is on the Democrat side. Hey, there it is. I'm just delivering the mail. Don't be mad at me. Let me know what you think below, my friends, in the comment section. Am I right or am I wrong? Am I weak or am I strong? God bless you, my friends, and God bless America. Take care.